Hello everyone, this is Squirk, level 65 Necro and Agnarr. This video is going to be a little bit different from the other ones I've posted. This whole video is going to be around one item, which is the Circlet of Shadow. Now I can't really think of any item that defines a class as much as this one defines the Necro class before level 70, at which point you get an AA that basically does the same thing. So there are 5 key uses for this item, and I'm just going to go through each of them in this video and maybe share a few tips and tricks on how to get the most out of it. The alternative, if you can't afford a Circle of Shadow, like Agnarr, they go for about 2 chrono currently. The alternative to a Circlet of Shadow is not the Circlet of Shadows, which has the cast time. The alternative is a giant stack of Cloudy Potions. But that being said, acquire this item somehow as quickly as you can, because you won't regret it. Okay, so here's the first use case. It is recovering from a feign death. Let's say I attack this giant here, and it doesn't go well, and I'm about to die. And now I have feign death, so that's great. The problem is, as soon as I get up again, this giant will start beating on me, because I'm feign death right next to him. So what we want to do in this situation is wait for the active aggro to clear. So the giant should drop off the extended target window, and/or you should receive the message, your enemies have forgotten you. At which point we are going to stand up, click our Circle of Shadows instantly, and 99% of the time you will drop aggro on the mob. He will not re-aggro you. That 1% of the time when he will re-aggro you is if you get very unlucky timing on a server tick, because aggro is actually measured every 6 seconds server side. Social aggro is instant, but active aggro is only once per tick, which is why sometimes when you're standing next to an aggressive mob, it seems like it takes them a few seconds before they decide they want to beat on you. That's because the server is waiting for its next server side tick. So sometimes it can take varying lengths of time to drop off, but as soon as this guy drops off, okay, my enemies have forgotten me, it's dropped off the target window. Stood up, Circle of Shadows, and we can run to safety. Okay, I'll be back soon with the second use case. Okay, so another main use case is killing your charm pet. So here I'm in a situation where you can see my pet is about to eat it. The whole pull has gone badly. You can click a Circle of Shadow to instantly break your charm. Do whatever you want to do to kill your charm pet, and you can move on and charm something else, or you can feign death, or whatever you want to do. So the idea is you don't want to ever waste a pet that's going to die. Sometimes you may want to do this intentionally. Let's say you want to actually kill an undead mob. Let's say that this undead vessel was a quest mob or needed or something. What I might want to do is charm him, send him to go attack a whole pack of other mobs, and then right when he's about to die, click my Circle of Shadow so the charm instantly breaks, and then finish him off and feign death or run away. So this is actually better than, let's say, what enchanters get. They have to use a Goblin Gazugi ring, which requires them to target themselves first to get the invis off. Because Circle of Shadow is self-only, you don't need to mess around with targeting, you just click it and your charm is instantly off. Okay, so the third use is very closely related to the second. So here we find ourselves in a dangerous zone, and we're in a precarious situation. I've got one live mob root rotted, and I've got the other undead mezzed. And as you can see, our pet here has lost his tash. So Circle of Shadow gives you the ability to control when you want to quickly break charm to reapply your tash through the Orb of Tishon proc. So the other alternative, of course, is feign death, but sometimes it's much more convenient is to control the mobs, whatever else you have in the camp. Get a fresh root on my other ad here. And when you're ready, pre-target your pets, break invis, slow him, and then proc tash as you normally would. Oops, I killed it. Don't underestimate the value of being able to just break charm whenever you want, so you can reapply tash. It's much more convenient than feigning death. Alright, so the fourth use is probably the most obvious of all of them, which is the ease at which Necros can travel and penetrate deep into dungeons. So we are right up there with monks, rogues, and bards in terms of our ability to get deep into a dungeon without actually having to clear. So here I'm in Acrylia Caverns, and my goal for this little video is to get to the spawn point for the Grimling Archsage. So you can see I've invis with my Circlet of Shadows, but up here are a whole pack of undead mobs, and just behind the undead are more live mobs. And there's very little room in between the undead mobs and the live mobs to reapply invis. So especially if you have the invis versus undead AA ability, you can just switch over to IVU, run past the undead just at aggro range, re-invis past the live mobs. And even if you do see meet a C-invis mob, we also have feign death. Okay, as happened here. Alright, so this is actually the placeholder for the Grimling Archsage, who drops a very nice Twinkie earring. I don't know how long that took from the time I zoned in, but not very long. And there's a lot of zones like this. So you've got Vexar, where you're switching between live mobs and undead mobs. There's a whole bunch of places where you could just, at full running speed, flip between your Circlet of Shadow, IVU, back and forth as much as you need. If you see an undead in front of you, you flip to IVU. You see a live mob, you flip to Circlet of Shadow. Okay. Alright, and just for the last good use I found for the Circlet of Shadows. If you're pulling a mob, or if you're running and you catch aggro on something that sees invis, like right now this dragon Talendor is chasing me around. Maybe the mob hit you, and as just happened, and you've instantly lost your invis. So Circle of Shadow, without having to stop, you can just re-invis. And while it won't prevent social aggro from whatever has aggroed you, you can run right past other mobs that don't see invis. So your train is not getting constantly bigger. Though that being said, if the mob that's chasing you creates social aggro, like his friends jump in to help, that's not going to help. Okay, so Talendor has just knocked off my invis again. I can just re-apply it and run right by any other mobs until I get to my camps. This is very useful for pulling, especially in outdoor zones.